Money. We chase it, we save it, we spend it, and sometimes we lose it all. But here's the truth. Becoming wealthy is not about being the smartest person in the room. It's not about having the best degree, the sharpest stock tip, or the most powerful connections. It's about one thing: behavior. And that's what Morgan Housel's book The Psychology of Money is all about. Today, let me take you on a story-driven journey through the key lessons of this modern classic, lessons that will change the way you think about wealth, greed, happiness, and freedom. So grab your seat. This is not just a book summary. This is the story of how money shapes our lives and how we can shape it better. Seedling Chapter 1. Two Men, Two Fates. Let's begin with a tale of two men. The first was Ronald Read, a janitor in rural Vermont. He fixed cars, worked odd jobs, and lived quietly. He wasn't flashy, never bragged, and always drove second-hand cars. People thought he lived an ordinary life. But when Ronald died at the age of 92, something incredible happened. He left behind an $8 million fortune. Not through luck, not through a secret trick, but through patience, frugality, and consistent investing over decades. Now meet Richard Fuscone, Harvard-educated, a top executive at Merrill Lynch. He lived in a mansion with 11 bathrooms and threw extravagant parties. He was respected, admired, and envied. But when the 2008 financial crisis hit, Richard went bankrupt. The mansion was gone. The empire crumbled. Two men, one a janitor, one a Wall Street star. Yet their outcomes flipped the script. The difference wasn't intelligence. It wasn't education. It was behavior. This is Morgan Housel's first big lesson. Financial success is not a hard science. It's a soft skill, shaped by behavior, patience, humility, and discipline. Hourglass Not Done Chapter 2. Compounding, the silent superpower. Let's talk about Warren Buffett. Everyone knows he's rich. But few people realize something. Warren made most of his fortune after his 60s. But compounding. Compounding is like planting a tree. At first, growth is invisible. The seed barely pokes out of the ground. But after years of patience, it becomes a mighty forest. Housel reminds us, good investing is not about making big moves. It's about making small decisions consistently and letting time do the heavy lifting. Most of us underestimate compounding because it's slow at first. But the secret is to stay in the game long enough. That's why Ronald Read, the janitor, beat Richard, the banker. Ronald stayed consistent for decades. Richard risked everything chasing more. Balance Scale Chapter 3. Knowing enough. Imagine this. You already have millions. You're comfortable. But then you take a gamble, hoping to double your fortune. And you lose it all. Because you didn't know when to stop. You didn't know what was enough. Housel says, the hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving. Many people fail not because they don't make money, but because they don't know when to stop chasing it. Envy is the enemy. Comparing yourself to others, wanting what they have, leads to reckless decisions. Ronald Read knew his enough. Richard Fuscone did not. That's the difference. Game Die Chapter 4. Luck and Risk, Invisible Forces. Here's a story about Bill Gates. Everyone knows him as the founder of Microsoft. But did you know Gates was one of the few students in the world in the 1970s who had access to a computer at school? That was luck. And what about his equally brilliant friend Ken Evans? He was supposed to be Gates's business partner. But tragically, Kent died in a mountaineering accident before adulthood. That was risk. The lesson? Never judge success or failure as purely effort-based. Luck and risk shape outcomes more than we like to admit. So be humble in success and forgiving in failure, both yours and others. Bank Chapter 5. Saving, not for things but for options. Why save money? To buy a house? To buy a car? To retire early? Housel says, not necessarily. You should save to have options. Savings are like oxygen tanks. You may not use them every day, but when the storm comes, they'll keep you alive. You don't need a reason to save. Just save. Because one day, life will throw something unexpected your way. And your savings will buy you flexibility, courage, and resilience. Mantelpiece Clock Chapter 6. Freedom, the ultimate dividend. Think about the richest return money can give you. Is it cars? Is it luxury homes? Is it jewelry? The richest return is freedom. Freedom to wake up and say, "Today, I will do what I want, with whom I want, for as long as I want." Money buys time, and time is life. This is why wealth isn't just about things. It's about reclaiming control over your most precious asset, your hours. Open Book Chapter 7. Everyone has their own story. Here's a truth most people forget. No one is crazy. The way you handle money is shaped by your personal experiences. If you grew up poor, you may value security above all. If you grew up wealthy, you may take risks others would never dare. If you saw your parents lose money in a crisis, you may always fear the stock market. This means everyone's money decisions make sense to them. But it also means we need to be cautious when giving or receiving advice. What worked for one person might not fit your story. Globe Showing Europe Africa Chapter 8. The Power of Stories Over Numbers. Let's be honest, stock markets don't always move on logic. They move on stories. Fear, greed, hope, and optimism drive decisions more than spreadsheets. Think of the housing bubble in 2008. It wasn't math that drove people to buy homes they couldn't afford. It was the story, "Housing prices always go up." Stories are powerful. They shape our behavior, which means understanding money is less about calculating returns and more about understanding human psychology. Puzzle Piece Chapter 9. Wealth versus rich. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Being rich is visible. The cars, the house, the vacations. Being wealthy is invisible. The savings, the investments, the financial security. The irony? People often spend money to look rich, and in doing so, destroy their ability to actually become wealthy. True wealth is silent. Lightbulb Chapter 10. Tails drive everything. Here's something fascinating. In investing, most of your returns come from a few rare events. The stock market? Most gains come from a handful of years. Businesses? A few products generate most profits. This means success often relies on surviving long enough to catch those rare, tail events. In short, you don't need to be right all the time. You just need to be around when the big wins happen. Person in Lotus Position Chapter 11. The Real Measure of Wealth. At the end of the day, wealth isn't about a number. It's about peace of mind. It's about going to bed without worrying about bills. It's about having the freedom to spend your day as you wish. It's about knowing when you have enough. Morgan Housel's final message is simple but profound. Money's greatest value is not in the things it buys, but in the life it lets you live. So, what's the psychology of money? It's understanding that wealth is a behavior, not a number. That compounding is powerful but invisible. That knowing you're enough can save you from ruin. That luck and risk shape lives more than we admit. That savings are not for things, but for freedom. And that the richest dividend money pays is control over your time. Remember Ronald Read, the janitor. And remember Richard Fuscone, the banker. 2 men, 2 stories, 1 lesson. It's not about how much you know or how much you earn. It's about how you behave with what you have. And maybe that's the real secret of money. If this story opened your eyes, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe to Spherewise for more life-changing ideas told through powerful stories. Because wisdom, like money, grows best when it's shared.